Hello, and welcome to the Rock Metal Podcast. Today on Rock Metal Podcast, we have LEXI LAYNE. She has a debut EP called Sinner and Saint. That's right? Sinner and Saint?
Sinner and Saint, yeah.
Sinner and Saint, beautiful. Okay, cool. That's what's written down. Anyway, Sinner and Saint, which is released on August 6th. Right now being joined by LEXI herself, or so I'm told, to share some more information about this stellar release. So, LEXI, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. Great having you on. I was recently just reading a self-help book about self-sabotage, so I thought this would be a really good conversation to chat about self-sabotage. Yes,
I'm always all for going deep into the songs and picking them apart. So I'm a fan of this today.
Well, something you mentioned there was going in deep, and basically my first question is, take us through this EP. Does it have a concept? Does it have a theme? Lyrically, what is it about? What did you set out to do with this EP?
It definitely does have a theme. For me personally, it's all about self-experiences that I've been through personally. All the lyrics were written by myself and my producer, Clint Fowler, who also did all the music for everything. It's definitely just like a battle between good and evil, and what's right and what's wrong, and just kind of stating that at the end of the day, we're all human, and we all have good traits about us, and we all have bad traits about us.
Some more than others. Like, we have a lot of good traits. Yes. You and me.
We have really good traits, you and I. I feel this right now.
Yes. The vibes are positive.
Yes. And I'm all for the positive vibes. So.
Okay. So then you had some personal experiences. Speaking of positive vibes, we're all trying to shoot for them positive vibes. Did you learn at all that having maybe some negative vibes are important, like the whole yin yang thing?
Oh, 100%. I feel like people that are like personally happy 24/7, it's a lie. Like, they're hiding some shit, they're burying some shit deep down inside. Like, I feel like you need those darker times to get to, like the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, there's beauty in darkness is really what I feel this entire EP is about.
Wow, that could have been a title too, Beauty in Darkness.
I know. I just thought of that. Maybe that'll be the second one. I don't know.
All right. Drop in here right now on the Rock Metal Podcast that there could be a new record coming called Beauty in Darkness. That's fantastic.
Maybe. Who knows? Good idea.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned working with Clint. He did a lot of the music. So take us through that partnership. Was this something that you had in mind, and it just took finding the right person to really make it come together to fruition?
You literally just nailed it. That's literally what it was. I've been singing my whole life and writing most of my life. And I just wanted to make darker, heavier music with my power vocals. And I couldn't find anybody that would just take me on seriously, or just wrong timing, wasn't the right person. And I actually met Clint when I first moved out here to Los Angeles, California, in a bar. We were just bartending together. And he's like, hey, I do music on the side. And I was like, yeah, me too. I just moved out here. I'm trying to, find somebody that will literally produce my music and make the music for me. And he's like, all right, well, let's, shoot the shit. Let's sit down and try to figure something out. And I had this song called The Darkness of Your Heart, which I wrote, I think it was 6-7 years ago. And I showed it to him, and he's like, this is great. Let me try to put some music to this and see where we can go. And after that was it. The single came out, and then I just started writing my ass off, and then we just did a whole EP together. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is très magnifique. That is fantastique.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. And then I love that you included California. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I moved to Los Angeles, California. I didn't want to confuse that with all the other Los Angeles.
I don't know. It just came out like that.
Like that Los Angeles.
Los Angeles,
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio. Totally.
To work on my music career. People don't know about that one.
I know. That's a secret spot. That's where I really am. That's the hidden gem.
It is. Because it's not so cluttered. But I'm actually curious to dive down. Speaking of diving deep, we're diving deep today. Moving to LA to work on a music career. It's funny that almost sounds cliche, but you did it and it worked. So take us through that experience.
So I lived in South Florida my whole life, and I kind of gave myself a little ultimatum. I'm like, look, if you're not where you're at by this age and you're not happy, you're freaking picking up your shit and you're moving to California and you're just going to figure it out. And the first year was rough. I want to say like moving to Los Angeles is almost like high school. Like your first year is like your freshman year and it's really hard. You're figuring out, your groups and like, what you're trying to do. But like, I always had a goal in mind of like music that I wanted to do. And when I first moved here, I moved here really quick because I actually had a manager that wanted to work with me, but it was more like pop R&B, which is not my thing. But I was like, all right, you know what? If this is what I'm meant to do, then it's just going to happen. I went through five managers in a matter of 4 months. And then after that, I was like, screw this, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm just going to do this by myself. So it definitely was a really big roller coaster. But once I met Clint, everything just like fell into place like so naturally. And I always tell him every day, he's like my brother. I'm like, I'm so forever grateful for you because like I would not be here without you. So
yeah, 1 minute you're mixing old fashions and the next minute you're mixing tracks.
Literally, it's literally what it was. It was great. Yeah. And now I don't mix drinks anymore at all. So
boom, success story. 5 managers in 4 months. There are a lot of bands that listen to the show. Their question I get often is, we're looking for a manager. We can't seem to find one. How in the world did you find 5 that you could just, throw away?
I was not looking in like my right genre at the time. It was very hip hop, very pop R&B that were just like, yeah, I'll take you on, like do this. I'll take you on, do this. And it just wasn't fitting. It was just like all Instagram. It almost felt like scammers in a way, just guys that were like, oh, all right, she's cute. She's got a great voice. Let me see if I can do something with her. And then all these promises were made and like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And I'm just like shedding money literally out of my back pocket thinking like these people are going to get me somewhere, and they never did.
Right. I think you indicated the key giveaway.
The money.
Yep.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So anybody listening in, number one, I've got some interviews that I've done on like a Powertalk Insider series where I chat with CEOs of record labels. I chat with band managers, tour managers, etc. And one of the key things is that you discuss what sort of an investment ratio, or what's the thing I'm looking for, agreement that you're going to have.
Yeah.
And most notably, managers for the most part don't take anything unless you make something and you work out that agreement. So if they want money up front, that is a dead giveaway that they are.
Yeah.
Them negative vibes.
But at the time, like I just moved here. Like this all happened within the first 4 months I moved here. So I'm like, oh, this is great. People want to work with me. Let me just shed all this money out. And like, I didn't know. I was dumb at the time, I know.
They were bloodless and they wanted to dominate, Lexi. That's what was going on.
There you go. You just nailed it on the head.
Yeah. They were the sinner and you was the saint.
Correct. That was really great the way you just did all that.
Thank you. Wow. South Florida. I bet you glad you moved.
Oh my God. I haven't been back to Florida in about, this year will be like two and a half years. I haven't been back home and I just don't plan on going back. It's the energy is just like the second that plane lands, I'm like, ugh, I'm done. Just let me get back on the plane and go back to California. It's just not the vibe for me at all. Just not a fan. No.
Groovy. Speaking of mixology, if you're into it at all, what's your favorite drink to mix?
And
if you just were doing it for the paycheck and you don't care, that's cool. You could say that too.
So I bartended for actually 10 years in a really high volume nightclub / like concert venue in South Florida.
So a lot of vodka Red Bulls probably.
A lot of those and like very just like I guess the term is like slinging drinks is like what we used to do.
Yeah.
So like my favorite drink that I used to make just because I used to do it like this is a Blue Long Island, because I would like flip the 4 bottles up at the same time and I felt like such a badass doing that.
Yeah.
So probably that's probably the drink that I used to like to make the most for sure.
Okay.
Just because of the bottle flip.
Bottle flip.
Bottle flip, yep.
Mm-hmm. I found out the other day you can actually buy one bottle where it's already pre-mixed. Saves time.
Yeah, but I feel like that tastes like shit. It's not the same.
It probably does. It probably does.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same. But I mean, that's easy if you need like something quick on the go or, whatever.
Yeah. You're just having one of those days and you feel like you really just need a blue Long Island.
Yeah, I guess so.
What makes it blue? Is it food coloring?
No, it's the blue curacao, actually. It's
Right.
like a liqueur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what makes it blue.
Okay. That's what makes the blue. So we have this EP. Take us through. Actually, I don't know. What's my next question? What should we talk about, Lexi? Your powerful voice getting into R&B and hip hop and pop. You know what it kind of reminded me of was Michael Bolton, because Michael Bolton, if you've read his biography, I recommend it.
Okay, because I have not.
Okay. Killer story. That guy's gotten his hands into everything from Cher to Lady Gaga. So he was trying to be a heavy metal guy.
Oh.
In the 70s and in the 80s. And then he was working as a songwriter for a record label. And at that time, they had to do things by hand. So they had all these cassette tape demos going around, and they had admins actually typing out things. And they were listening to his demos, and they liked his demos so much that they took it to the execs and they said, listen to these freaking demos. They're better than when the artists that took him did. Mm-hmm. So they sat him down and they're like, we know you're trying to be this metal guy who's like writing songs on the side. You should probably think about adult contemporary. And he's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's so lame. Why would I do that?
Yeah.
So he finally did, and it exploded. So it kind of reminded me of that. Like, okay, well, maybe I'm supposed to do hip hop and R&B, but no, you're supposed to be LEXI LAYNE.
Yes, correct.
Right.
I mean, again, I always say everything happens for a reason. I grew up doing theater from age 6 to 19. So my background is very like versatile, and I'm used to performing, and you have one chance to get it right. And if you don't, well, then you kind of failed and you go from there. But when I was younger, I was doing more pop, did some R&B stuff, but like pop rock was kind of like where I sat at like the age of like 16. And that's when I started working with like my first label and, writing all of my own songs and stuff. And it just like wasn't like hard enough for me. I don't know. Like there's something about doing a heavier style of music, for me at least, that like I don't know, it's like that nitty gritty, like it like fills my soul in a different way than like pop music would. Now, nothing against pop music. I like pop music too. Like it's just a different feeling, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
that's
just lean.
One of my other questions was, you mentioned doing darker, heavier music with power vocals. How did you set out to do that? Did you just say that? What makes music dark? What makes it heavy?
I just think it's all about like your vocal tone and the tone of your music and like what you're trying to execute at the end of the day with that song. For me, like I've always had, I guess, like powerhouse vocals is how I've been told. So I wanted to just kind of like take that and put it in that darker feel, as far as like, like an Amy Lee in Evanescence, or like a Within Temptation, a Flyleaf. I just noticed like there was a lack of that for a really long time, and now it's coming back, which makes me so happy. I feel like rock and like metal is definitely like resurfacing in a new way. So, that works for me. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that back. And it's just where I'm most comfortable. It's just like where my voice sits naturally. And again, I just have the best feeling when I'm singing that kind of music.
That's important.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I don't know, I'm not a fake person. So it's like you can't sing something that you're not really feeling. That's just me personally as an artist.
Yeah. I think that's a dead giveaway. You can't get up on stage 6-7 nights a week for 3 months at a time.
No. But some people do. Some people do, though. And again, I give them credit, but, for example, like on the side, I work at a recording studio here in LA doing demos, just like retracking people's songs. And it's all pop. Mm-hmm. And, I do it, but it's not the same feeling of like when you're singing your own music,
Yeah. Okay. So. Full circle back to the Michael Bolton thing. So you're like a modern day Michael Bolton.
We can say that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Doing them demo tracks.
Yeah.
Very cool. Random question. How did you get a gig doing that? Or is that something that's just, pretty easy to do in LA?
I feel like it's a little bit of what you just said, but actually Craigslist.
Wow.
I saw an ad on Craigslist for a recording studio here, which is absolutely beautiful. It's Black Recording Studios, right in Studio City. And they're like, yeah, we're looking for like a vocalist. And I'm like, all right, here's all my credentials. Here's all my videos. I can sing. And they're like, all right, we'll see you next week. You sound great. And that was it. I got the gig.
And there it was.
Sometimes it's easier, than you think.
Mm-hmm. Groovy. Okay, so we chatted about a few things. Dominate, Sinner, and Saint are available as videos on YouTube.
Yes.
So for those listening in, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you should have show notes down below. If you're watching on YouTube, there are going to be show notes down below. If you're on today's website, therockmetalpodcast.ca, there'll be show notes down below. There you can check out Lexi's Facebook page and as well the music videos for Dominate and Sinner and Saint. And then also as well, you had mentioned that you wanted to specifically chat about Bloodless and Self-Sabotage. And I guess...
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
My next question is, why those two tracks? Are they your favorite babies out of all the babes on the whole?
Every song definitely holds, like a special place in my heart. But Self-Sabotage, I feel like is, about like that duality and that battle with like yourself. So yeah, I mean, I'm cool to talk about that. Also would love to talk about the Dominate music video as well, because that just came out. So whatever you want to go about first, I'm cool with. Your choice.
Very true. And we've got maybe 5 minutes left. So let's talk about Dominate, because you seem very excited about that. Because if we talk about self-sabotage, I'll get into this psychology book that I've been reading about self-sabotage at an actual level, and then it'll just go on.
Well, let's say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's not. Okay.
Yeah, let's sabotage the self-sabotage and talk about let's dominate have the dominate. So
Dominate was one of the singles I released in July, and we actually just released the music video. I think it was like 4 weeks ago. That was a great process. My best friend of 20 years, who's also my makeup artist and who also directed the music video for me, we just kind of sat down and came up with this like amazing concept. Well, she did of like 80s goth meets like Queen of the Damned, very like dominatrix in this like dark lair kind of feel. And yeah, we just like wanted to bring something different. It definitely has like a very like Marilyn Manson feel, like the Sweet Dreams video. We just wanted to bring all that like old school kind of, grungy, darker goth feel back into the video. And that's what we did. So happy the way that it came out. Everyone's reaction has been really great. I haven't gotten anything negative. So yeah, I'm like super stoked about that and it coming out the way that it did.
Well, that young lady just licked that young man's face.
Yep.
Is it weird that we're so far into the pandemic? My first reaction is, I hope they're vaccinated.
No, it's not, because that's a normal brain mentality now.
Yeah.
But we were all vaccinated. And no one got sick after. So that's all that matters. I was like, it's not my fault if you got sick.
That's right. Sign this paper, please.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Well, funny because you mentioned all those things. And as I was watching the music video, I thought to myself, this is sort of like a modern, I don't want to call back to, but I definitely got all those vibes that you mentioned. It didn't look like somebody trying to do something that looks like it was made in the past. It looks like this is today, but I'm making a callback. Yeah.
That's literally like all the strings that we pulled. And, I think, it's getting a really good reaction. It's getting people's attention and it's bringing you back to that time. And that's what we wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Yeah. Keep doing it. Do it again.
Yep.
A million times. Sweet. So we chatted about working with Clint Fowler. We chatted about Mixology a little bit, that Blue Long Island, flipping them bottles. We chatted about the battle between good and evil. It's important to have some of them negative vibes in there. Chatted about pairing powerhouse vocals with darker, heavier music. We chatted about, interestingly enough, being taken seriously. I think we have enough time, maybe, depending on how long of an answer that is, but is there a certain point where it just clicked and you knew you were being taken seriously? Was there something you needed to change yourself?
No, it really took me finding Clint.
Okay.
That literally the second we started working and after The Darkness of Your Heart came out, and I was like, hey, look, I have this song called Sinner and Saint. All my lyrics are written. This is what I hear. Let's do this. And after that, it was just like an explosion of like beautiful music. And it took about 2.5 years to finish.
Wow.
Yeah, it took a really long time. Explosion
of beautiful music. Darkness. What was it? Beauty and Darkness?
Yes. Beauty and Darkness.
All right. Yeah. Cool. We chatted about moving to LA. We chatted about going through 5 Bullschlager managers in 4 months.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. We chatted about an interesting concept, actually, because I chat with a lot of bands in Europe, and I just finished chatting with somebody in Finland about how rock and metal is like a massive mainstay there. It's on the radio. It's a big thing. And he was like, how is it in North America? And I said, like a niche thing, you know, like it's,
yeah.
But you mentioned it's starting to surface again, which it seems to kind of come in waves, I think, in North America.
It does. And I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but like, yeah, the whole European, UK market over there, it's so popular over there that I notice most of my plays are like, Germany and, again, Finland, Sweden, all that, most of my plays are over there, which is completely fine with me. Cause again, it's such a staple, that music there, which I think is awesome. I wish it was like that here.
Me too. All right.
Yeah.
So, again, in today's show notes down below, wherever you're listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeart, wherever it is that you're listening, you're on YouTube, you're watching our beautiful faces, or today's website, therockmetalpodcast.ca. There are show notes down below. You can go ahead and connect with Lexi on her Facebook page. Is there a better website that I should send people, or is that it?
Instagram. I use Instagram more than anything.
Okay. Cool. I'm finding that out more and more as we carry on into the new millennium. And also, as well, there's going to be Dominate, and yes, they were vaccinated, and Sinner and Saint, which I believe is a lyric video.
Yes.
We also chatted about Bloodless and self-sabotage, so don't self-sabotage. Click those links, watch those things, consume that music. Lexi, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock and Metal Podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time with you.